1 gets investigated by the contestants. 2 begins his depression arc. 4 and X get their long-awaited return to hosting. And TV continues to prove that he is a background character.
Welcome back to another video, and today we will be covering the most recent episode of TPOT, being the Power of 4. And I know I'm a little bit late with this. Just a little bit late. But at least it's happening. The episode starts off with Yellowface going everywhere looking for a way to make money. He goes to Pencil, Black Hole, Fanny and Pin, getting kicked out by all of them. And fair enough, he deserves it. The fact he's broke makes him start crying loads, and as much as I hate him, I gotta admit this is the most relatable part of this episode. Yellowface then finds Price Tag, which leads to the start of their friendship this episode. Which is mostly all Yellowface does this episode. And of course we got the other half of the friendship swap being Winner and Book, and I quite enjoyed this one. I think this group of 4 can be really cool together if they make it to merge, but I don't know if Yellowface will survive this elimination. Then we switch to Fanny and Ice Cube, trying to figure out what's going on with 1 while also trying to explain it all to 2. However, 2 is too depressed to listen. And honestly, I'm so ready for that moment later down the line where things go wrong and 2 realizes they warned him. Also, I'm glad they are hinting at finally introducing new characters to this story. More specifically, ones that have not made a deal with 1, because in the end I feel like something will happen to those like Fanny. One thing that I have noticed is that Donut has not yet made a deal with 1 despite being the perfect person. Which leads me to believe either the writers forgot about him, or he will play a more important role in the story going forward. Anyway, next up we have Cake at Stake, but 4 edition, and I found this intro a little funny. And of course Black Hole is the first one safe. Like, I understand why he's safe, but how did he get this many votes? Fanny is the next one safe, and we see Pencil being reminded of bad memories, and it's about time we see the effects that being in the exit has had on these contestants. We saw it last episode with Pencil's crash out. And we see it a little later on with Lie opening up to Pen. And you really see the contrast between how they reacted. Anyway, Pin gets eliminated. Shocking how the 3 non-Death Pact Again members got eliminated against the originals who were fan favorites. And shockingly, the token from like what TPOT 2 I think is shown to be relevant. But Pin, I hate to break it to you, but Tree has been in the bottom 2 so many times. He is not making merge. Ice Cube gets eliminated, and this just annoys me. Why start an Ice Cube story 5 minutes before she gets eliminated? Now we really need new characters in the 1 plot. We get the challenge and it's hide and seek. And I would just like to point out the tone shift in these challenges. We went from saving space and time from being destroyed to simple hide and seek. This method of results could never possibly go wrong, right? Wait, what do you mean it goes wrong? And just like that, everyone starts scattering themselves around the world. Of course, Pen begins his mini arc after overhearing Pencil threaten others. And well, I think since Pen's team did not lose, they could have stretched this for at least 1 more episode. As you'll see later, they speedrun this. Fanny splits away from her team, only to fail to sabotage Cloutier and get out in the process, and like why there was no point. The only other thing she does the rest of the episode is hint at showing Tennis Ball the 1 stuff. Black Hole chooses to stay behind and lose the 3 voters who liked him for his involvement, and thanks to 1 meddling, the timer drops to a few seconds. This accomplished nothing except making Black Hole do stuff. Marker actually does something really smart and tries to ally with Team 2, which I liked. Good for Marker. He is finally thinking ahead. Him and Tree were a cool duo this episode, well, at least when it was actually Tree. I'm not saying Tree was bad this episode, he was quite alright, but Grassy did steal half his screen time, and with the amount of Tree neglect they had earlier on the season, he really is not looking like a merge pick. Speaking of him, Grassy was quite good this episode, and I have heard some people say he fits into the category of characters like TV, but personally I think he's grown out of that zone. Like when he was trying to get Marker caught, but my question is, why did not he just get Tree caught? It's not like 4 and X could see him in there, and although it would not affect the results, Grassy would not have known that at the time. And TV literally becomes a background character, hardly appearing for the rest of the unless the plot finds it convenient, and I have to ask, why is he always right in front of 4 and X like he can just walk away, yet he chooses to show up just in time to save whoever's being chased? Either TV is the most heroic character or the dumbest, and for my own sake I'm gonna say heroic. Speaking of background, bottle brags about being good at hide and seek, then disappears for the rest of the episode. Personally, I did not like the bottle hype from the contestants, and if their team had gone up this round, she probably would have been close with TV in terms of votes. Meanwhile, all that happens, Pillow somehow makes a deal with X and starts seeking instead. I don't even know what to say anymore. At least she didn't betray her team, even though that ends up getting her caught by 4, who still took quite a long time to realize. During Pillow's seeking, she ended up tricking Black Hole into destroying Tennis Ball's lies and Pen's hiding spots. Which once again is Black Hole stupid this episode. All of this ended up getting the attention of 4, and in my favorite Tennis Ball moment this episode, he attacked 4, and honestly, seeing how scared people typically are of him, I'm impressed. Black Hole escapes and keeps being stupid, destroying every area possible until he finally reaches the kitchen, which is the one area where 4 and X are alarmed, and instead of flying away, he lets himself get caught, and I'm so happy Becca Hughes, I couldn't stand watching him any longer. Meanwhile, Pen and Lai escape through Robody and start talking on the bridge. Thanks to Lai, we get Pen's first crash out. We also finally get the 5-second clip of Bubble and Ruby noticing match, but that's too short to be relevant yet. Pen ends up breaking the bridge, and because of this recklessness, X realizes where they are. This scene is not that relevant apart from them getting caught, it's mostly the setup. As not long after he sabotages Cloudye and makes them crash. Now, it would have been fine had the episode left it on that, but not even 30 seconds later Pen changes his mind and saves them. I doubt that we needed a whole explanation that Pencil is scared of 4, it was quite obvious, and once again we did not need to have a whole Pen arc in one episode since he is already confirmed in the next episode. This could have been split in 2. Lai was also really inconsistent with her cheering for Pen, and that annoyed me almost as much. Also, speaking of Cloudye, I liked about half their team, that being the conflicting half. Pencil sacrificing Yellowface and Winner was a good way to isolate the good characters, and personally I hope Donut and Golf Ball survive next episode, especially with them being hinted at involvement with the One plot. Pencil is being set up as quite a good antagonist for later on in the season, and I'm liking it. The last character I have yet to talk about this episode is Snowball, and even though he kind of went to do his own thing, he was still one of the best parts of his team. I really enjoyed him throwing everyone off, really gave me Season 2 Gelatin vibes. I wish he had survived instead of being knocked off by the van, but oh well. The last thing I have to say is about the double elimination twist, and honestly I should have known with how the episode was playing out. I like the idea, just wish it was not happening to such a good team. For the people I want out, that is Yellowface and Pillow. However, realistically it's between Winner, Yellowface, Pillow, and possibly Donut for who gets eliminated. Thank you for over 750 subscribers. We are now even closer to our goal of 1K. And if you enjoyed the video, then subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Our goal is 1,000 before the end of April, so let's see if we can get to 850 with this video. That's it for now, bye.